with my super messy ponytail. This is me like not trying on my hair today. I literally pulled it up to do my makeup and then I like just didn't touch it. This was like my get my hair out of my face. I was like, that's fine, that works. So I'm back here today with Dan.
Back. This is our third video filming back to back.
I got him to sit down with me. I actually had a dream the other night that we did this whole series called like Our Relationship Diaries. And it was just videos of you and me talking about things in our life. Because I really think we should get documented before we forget like our first 10 years of marriage. Just memories from that period because we did so much.
We've talked about that video.
I know. I think
haven't we done this before?
No.
Really?
We're gonna do that at some point, I think, because I think it's important. And we got married so young that in like 20 years we might have forgotten like what really happened in the first 10 years. So the other day on Instagram, I asked you guys what kind of videos you would like to see us film. And one of the top videos that I got asked was how we've liked our time here in Tennessee so far. It's been almost 11 months now since we've been here, so we're coming up on a year.
My belly is loving it.
Oh, your belly is loving living here? Yeah, so we're just gonna jump right in and explain how we've liked it. So I guess in summary, we've loved it. That's, a lot of you guys were like, honestly, how have you felt here? Honestly, we've loved it. It's amazing how like, you know, if you know my whole story of us going here, I literally felt God tell me, you're going to Nashville. And that was only the third time I've ever felt God speak to me very clearly. And even, like I said, it's only happened 3 times. So there's a little bit of doubt that comes with that. And like moving us across the country was a little bit scary. But you know, talking to my family, talking to my therapist, we just kind of decided like, well, there's not really much to lose. Like I'm not like losing my job by moving. Like we could just try it and see. And it's amazing now being here, seeing like, wow, God, this sounds so lame because this is obvious, but I'm just vocalizing it. God totally knew exactly what we needed to do because where we are right now in life, this has been the perfect like next step, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
Like it's been very life-giving.
I think that the dogs like it too, and Zoe's been peeing in the appropriate place 90% of the time.
Come here.
Haven't you,
We're
Zoe?
talking about you. Come here.
Now that she doesn't have to wear a diaper.
True that, Zoe. Yeah, so let's see, should we talk about some of our favorite things?
Well, let me just jump onto the train that...
Go for it.
It was gonna cost me almost $1,300 to register my truck, to re-register the truck to California. It cost me $173.
That's $1,000 difference.
Yeah, a little more. It's
what
crazy.
the heck? Just by living here.
Yeah, no state income tax, so I don't even remember how much California state income tax is, but
you don't pay it all here.
Thousands of dollars a year, and the more money you make, the more money you save. There is, we just, in the summer it's hot, we leave the upstairs and downstairs AC running all day, all night, just to keep the house regulated to the temperature that we like. Even when we leave, so when we come home, the home's comfortable. And our bill is still way less than what we were paying in California.
Gas is cheaper. And
that's still a cheap bill.
Well, and on top of that, there's nowhere really for us to have to drive to. Because
sorry, I can't give you an example of how cheap it is, but
yeah.
It's still way cheaper than where we were.
Well, and Nashville as a city is so much smaller than LA. So even if we drive anywhere like outside of the city, through the city, we are not even kind of spending as much on gas as we were in LA.
Gas per gallon is like $1
That's what
cheaper here, but I'm putting less miles on the cars. So yeah, I'm not spending as much on gas a week. Car insurance is exactly the same. That didn't change. What else is cheaper? The house that we bought?
I mean,
cheaper.
Geez, yeah, we got
cheaper than it would have been in California.
We got a pretty amazing house, like 7 minutes from downtown Nashville. Geez, you wouldn't have been able to get a house in downtown LA, nor would I want to live in downtown LA for that matter. But like, was it last night? Or no, it was the night before we went to a show at the Symphony. Which I guess this leads me into something that I really loved about living in Nashville. Probably my favorite thing about living in Nashville. I don't know though, there are a couple favorite things, but it's the amount of like world-class entertainment that exists here in a non-Los Angeles setting. Meaning like back home in LA, obviously we had world-class entertainment, but to get to it, we would be sitting in traffic for literally hours. Like the whole thing was just like an ordeal, nightmare.
You can go to LA and you can see bands. There's bands that play in Hollywood every single night, every day of the week. But they're not always good. And they're not always your taste in music. That's why they what do they call Nashville? Music City?
Yeah, Music City.
Literally,
Music City, baby.
When you go to like a music club and you see the talent that's playing,
it's jaw-dropping.
For 2 hours,
it's unbelievable.
Incredible talent, world-class dudes that have been playing forever, and they're like,
and it's
we're
Thursday.
here every Wednesday night. It's like,
yeah.
Oh. Okay, so you're not Music City because you have this stadium and you have huge concerts.
It's because they all live here.
Yes, you got these guys that are world-class top musicians and they're regulars out here. That's why they call this Music City, because you can go anywhere and see dope talent. And even if they're not famous, like the guys that are playing on Broadway in every bar, all these bands that are playing, they're good players, good singers. It's awesome. So talent, entertainment like that, it's so inexpensive.
Well, and because we don't know how long we're gonna stay in this house, we're actually thinking of like moving out to farther to the country. But we bought, like I said, we're literally like 7, 8, 9 minutes from downtown Nashville. So for us to go out, it's so easy. It's crazy. But I don't feel like I live like
cost me $10
downtown.
to take an Uber to downtown.
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna say. The other
back.
night we went to there's a symphony that we have, the Nashville Symphony, and we saw them like 2 weeks ago play the Star Wars soundtrack to the Star Wars movie, which was so rad. I was crying for the first like 5 minutes because I get very overwhelmed by people like playing their instruments in unison. Yes. I love it, and strings to me are like everything. But then the other night they had a Beatles cover band come to the symphony because in the second half they brought out symphony players to play the Beatles music that has like other instruments in it. And we got there 10 minutes, $10 in an Uber, no parking, walked straight into our seats. Like the whole thing is just, it's so convenient, so everything is less stressful, but then it's just talent is oozing out of every single corner of this city. So it's so life-giving. And I feel like I used to have this thing where like seeing shows, I would go and I would just be kind of bored because it was like, well, I'd rather be up there with them, so I'm kind of bored. But like here, I mean, a lot of these people, like I couldn't get up there with them, like I don't play your instrument, and the only instrument I do play, I don't play very well. But I also feel like I love it now because I'm not performing as much as I used to. I also love my job on YouTube, so I'm very fulfilled in that way. And 3, I'm always learning. Like I watch people do these shows and I'm just like soaking it all in. I'm like, this is incredible. Like it's overwhelming. So definitely the access to shows. I mean, we were just at lunch today planning the next 2 shows we're going to.
We
at
were
like
at
the
lunch
best food
today
ever.
planning our next lunch. We were at a restaurant called Bar Taco. It's our new favorite place to eat. It's so good. I'm working on ordering everything on the menu, and
It's so
sometimes we go there and order like half the menu.
It's so good. You have to go if you come to Nashville. It's amazing.
Oh.
But in the next few weeks,
So
our plan is to see Jason Mraz at the Ascend, Zoe, which is an outdoor
They're
amphitheater,
playing.
where we also saw Hans Zimmer last year. It was amazing. And then we're also planning on going back to the Ascend like 2 weeks after that, because the symphony is going to come to the Ascend and do like the Symphony Under the Stars, and I think they're playing like Bach or something like that. I know, you're literally covered in fur.
I've never had so much Bowser for on me.
That is pretty crazy, huh?
I have to go outside and shake off.
So yeah, so the music, the talent. We've also enjoyed experiencing different seasons. We had never experienced other seasons.
Fall's pretty dope.
Fall's cool.
Well, the thing about the seasons is it changes so fast that when fall started, we went to California and came back and everything was already changed. So we didn't get to watch it progress. It was like coming back and our home was completely different. And it happened again with the summer. We planted a garden outside. I have a weed growing out in the front yard, and it was like, started off as like a little
oh
stick.
my gosh.
And I'm like, hey, I'm not gonna pick you. And then it grew to like 1.5 feet. We left for 10 days, came back. It was way hotter out here, but our garden exploded. Like the vines had moved out 10 feet onto the grass. And my weed in my front yard is as tall as I am, but it also spreads out like 6 feet.
It's bonkers.
It's huge. I'm so proud of it. It's like the main stalk is like
I'm
this
so
fat.
proud of it.
It's so big. I really want to see how tall it can grow.
Oh my gosh.
So it looks cool too.
It does look pretty cool. Oh, random. I was gonna bring up the obvious question that people are gonna ask, like, do we miss California? So the answer is yes and no. It's both. I think it's yes because there are times where like I miss my family, I miss certain friends. There are days where I miss the familiarity of California because the town that we moved from, Santa Clarita, I mean, I was pretty much born and raised there. I moved into that town when I was like 2. So there are days where I miss that, but simultaneously, no, because
I miss the sushi.
Oh yeah, food is definitely at the top of the list, because even though Nashville has amazing food, there are just things in LA's food culture,
In and out.
yeah, that aren't really here. Like
I'm-
way more good Mexican food out there, way more healthy options out there.
Look, she's a vegetarian, so she can't find good Mexican food. But I'm finding so much good Mexican food. Like if you like tacos, you're really gonna like Nashville, because there are those super, I had a tongue taco yesterday. Super authentic Mexican food made by Mexicans that don't speak very good English. That's the authentic stuff. Then there's the other type of taco where
It's like
it's
American,
not Mexican,
like,
but it's like what we had at Bar Taco today, like
oh, that was so
brisket
good, though.
taco.
But it's well done.
Yeah, it's like it's southern food tacos. Like,
Yeah. So.
But they don't come to Nashville and eat sushi.
Yeah, that's been his struggle. I'm not a sushi fan, but that's been
I've tried
his struggle.
like, so many places, and it's
all disappointing.
it's all not worth it. And I'm sorry if you work at a sushi restaurant and you live in Nashville. It's
not his jam.
It's not very good, because you have to have good sushi.
So,
But everyone's taste is different. But whatever, I just don't like it here. And it's funny, I talk about this a lot with people that are
and
from
everybody's
Nashville.
always got a recommendation.
Everybody's got a different recommendation, and I'm like, I literally don't
believe any of you.
You all say something different, and I've been to so many, and they're all bad. So,
I don't trust you.
But they're all from here, so it's like, oh, so you don't even understand.
Well,
So
that's the food scene. I cook at home a lot now here, but I like that because I like to cook, as you guys know. Okay, family. We'll see if things change once we have a child.
Well, we just found out more families moving to Nashville.
Woohoo! We literally just found out today. My sister and her husband are actually moving to Nashville in a couple of weeks. So now we're gonna have my little sister, my brother-in-law, and then technically she's not a sister-in-law, but I call her another sister-in-law and brother-in-law that live 30 minutes up the road. They're actually her sister and brother-in-law, but we've known them forever. So we will have some family here.
It's your sister's husband's
sister, who I've known since I was like 12. Yeah. So, and you've known Andy, her husband, forever. But I mean, yeah, I miss my family, but also we have FaceTime, we have phone calls. We visit California every couple of months. Like, we've been back to California like 3 or 4 times. We're going back in September, and it honestly just makes our visits more special. My family is like very close, and so one thing that was kind of hard for me in California was like we would have kind of like unannounced visits, and it kind of made it hard for me to plan my day. So now it's kind of cool because like, yeah, one could say that, you know, you miss that, like the unexpected drop-ins, but it actually helps me like plan my days easier when it's like scheduled. It's like, okay, my family's coming out now. This is going to be family week, like just family. And my therapist had actually said that to me. She was like, that's kind of the special thing about moving away, is it makes the time together a lot more special. And she was totally right about that. God, she's so cute. So yeah, between visiting California all the time, between FaceTime, between phone calls, and the fact that this will be my parents' 3rd time here since we've moved, yeah, it's like great. I don't really like miss them per se. I love them and miss them, but it's not like this overwhelming like homesickness. Because we love it here for all of the aforementioned reasons. I'm getting so distracted by my crazy dog. Does anyone else's Yorkie do that?
She makes the funniest noises when she's riled up.
She really does. I feel like that's it. We like our neighbors because we live next to, if you guys know, the Shine Project on Instagram, Ashley and Mike Lemieux. They're our neighbors like 2 doors down. We love them. So
we have other neighbors too.
Yeah.
We're all the same age and
they're just not public figures I can list. But they're people that we really like that are like, one of them's in like a band. The other neighbor, he's a writer and a lawyer. And like, it's just been really, it's a fun neighborhood. And we go to church with our one set of neighbors, and that's been really cool too. I'm able to like, I'm getting more involved in things. He's got a Bible study that he goes to now at our church, and I'm going to be helping throw my first event at the church called a legacy tea. Actually, this is so cool. So one day I was in church and I was listening to the sermon, obviously, but I looked down at my wrist at my tattoo, which says James 1:27, for those of you that don't know, which my hearts, for me, symbolize James 1:27. So they're basically like the same thing. But I was sitting there thinking about it, and I was like, man, I'm so glad that we're moving forward with adoption. Like, I know we feel called to that. It means so much to us. But then I was thinking about the second half of this verse that says, it basically says, I'll quote it again in case you haven't heard it. It says, the only religion that God our Father finds pure and faultless is to take care of orphans and widows in their distress and to keep oneself from being polluted by the world. And I thought, okay, we're moving forward in the orphan thing. That sounds funny, but you know what I mean? I was like, but what about the widow thing? And I'm looking around church and I'm like, there are a lot of widows in this church, because the church that we're going to right now is actually 120 years old. Like, it's an old church, but it just got like mixed into another newer church. So it's kind of had a relaunch in the last 2 years.
So there's old and young people in the congregation, and obviously when you get old, you lose your partner.
Yeah.
And you're a widow.
Yeah, and so it was really cool because like a week, I was meditating on that a lot, thinking like, what am I gonna do about that? And then like a week or 2 weeks later, we had a women's meeting at church where they were like, hey, we're trying to develop the program. The church is pretty small right now. And they were like, we wanna talk about things. And they brought up this thing called a legacy tea, which they want to throw a tea party. How perfect is that, as I'm sitting here drinking tea, for all of the older women in the church. So it'll be younger and older women coming together, but really to like honor them and let them know that like we want them to be a part of our lives and to speak into our lives, because obviously the older a person gets, the more wisdom they have, and that's just, I don't know, cool. So that's kind of a random like side note of feeling like a prayer being answered, like a thought being answered. So yeah, church stuff. Shooting range.
Yeah, I don't like the shooting range out here because it's an indoor range, and I like outdoor ranges better because I like to shoot steel plates. That instant gratification of the ping on the metal. It's a lot more fun when you're shooting bullets rather than paper. It's because there's no mountain ranges out here. You can't shoot your bullets and have them pass through a neighborhood.
Yeah, that
or
would be good.
freeway. So.
But you're buying a bow and arrow now, or bow situation,
yeah,
right?
I'm getting into bow and arrows. And there's a bow and arrow range out here somewhere, pretty big one. So that's outdoors, but that wouldn't matter either way, anyways, because it's pretty quiet, regardless. What else? Oh, the time difference here. I'm just going into things that I don't like anymore, and this one's really stupid, but UFC is on 2
I was
hours
like, why don't you
later.
like the time difference? Like, your life is not impacted. You live here now.
No, because
But that's what you mean.
I watch UFC a lot. It's the sport that I like watching. I don't like watching any sports that involve a ball. So UFC is typically on 2 hours later than it would be in California, so I end up staying up watching
I don't mind
fights
it. I get more
later.
time in the day with you, and then when you want to do that, I just climb in bed and watch
Yeah,
a show
she
or
starts
work
watching
on
her
my
own
phone.
shows, and I'm watching fights till midnight.
He's always like, whatever, I know you're living your best life right now, getting to be alone and watch a show. I'm like, that's true though. I do like this. So yeah,
we have our scheduled alone time.
Yeah.
It's UFC night. So
I really think that's it though. I really can't think of anything else that we need to talk about. Actually, something else just occurred to me staring out the window. The amount of greenery that exists here, especially coming from Southern California, like all the greenery here has us shook. Like, I love it. We drive around everywhere and we're like, oh, this is amazing. It's so beautiful. And it makes the air so fresh. Like, I literally can tell a difference in the air when we go to Los Angeles versus when we come back here. I'm literally like, this is amazing.
There's no sprinkler systems
Isn't that
anywhere
funny?
in people's lawns. Like when we moved in here, I was like,
He's like, where are the sprinklers?
yeah, you don't need them, and everything is like exploding.
Yeah, it's not fake greenery.
Yeah, because it rains so often here. You know, the clouds will roll in, it'll sprinkle for 20 minutes, and then they're off. And
Or
it's a
it'll
sunny day again.
pour rain for 20 minutes. And
Right,
we're like,
either or.
ah!
Yeah,
we like
inside.
by the windows, we're all, oh my gosh! And then all of a sudden it stops,
Mm-hmm.
which is so fun. It adds such an unexpected, out of your control, cool element to your day that it's like, wow, it's like a very tangible reminder that we don't really control our lives. It's cool.
Raining and it's still hot outside, which if you're from Singapore, you are very familiar with that. I used to think that was pretty cool, but I was extremely irresponsible. I like it how in the last video, I was talking about making responsible decisions. I used to swim in thunderstorms.
I literally can't. And we would tell you, don't do that. And he still did it. He didn't
gnarly
care.
thunderstorms. I'd float on my back and I'd stare up and watch the lightning.
Literally, God was watching over you because that was a really bad decision, Daniel.
I was aware. I wasn't just being...
But why would you do that then
I
if
was
you were
totally aware of what I was doing.
Then why did you do it?
Oh.
You just didn't think it was going to happen to you.
Well, it didn't.
Is that why you just didn't think it was going to happen? Or is this too deep of a question for a video right now?
You know what? If here's my coin phrase: if it's not dangerous, it's not fun.
On that note, we're going to go now. So
no, that was a really stupid thing I did, but I did it.
Yeah.
That's my story.
I think that's a boy thing to just
But
make some decisions.
it was hot and super rainstormy outside, and it's like that out here in the summer.
Well, yeah. On that note, we're gonna go now. Also, Dan under this hat, you can't tell, but he recently had scalp surgery.
Scalp surgery.
We will be making a video about that. We already have all the footage. We're documenting it. But he literally had something done by the artist.
What? It's called... I guarantee you, at this point, everyone has no idea what you're talking about.